All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining this afternoon. I know everyone's busy, so I'm going to make these tips, tricks, and features for SafeVisitor. We'll do this monthly, and they will be less than 30 minutes. Some of them maybe 15 or 20, just depending on how much information that we have to share. My name is Bridget Klum, and I am the VP of Customer Advocacy at Safe Hiring and SafeVisitor Solutions. I know some of you on the webinar I've talked to maybe personally, maybe even met in person. Those of you that are new to SafeVisitor and our company, welcome. We're glad to have you. If you ever have any questions, you know that you can reach out to me directly for assistance. I just wanted to offer a way for us to be able to provide guidance for things that seem to come up a lot with customer service questions, and also try to stay ahead of the game to let you know what we will be offering in the upcoming months, or even features that are available now that you may not be aware of. One of the things that we hear consistently from a tips and tricks, I guess something that comes up frequently is, what's the difference between an attendant and an administrator, an administrative position within SafeVisitor? What's the difference? How do I look up different registration types in SafeVisitor, as well as the status of those registration types? How can I also resend a badge to somebody that's an approved volunteer? Even once we know SafeVisitor sent that, maybe the person calls and says, hey, I didn't receive it. What options do you have on the back end from a customer perspective to be able to resend that information out to the applicant? So we'll go through some of those things. Administrator versus attendant access within SafeVisitor. Administrator access within the system, you as an administrator have full rights to view the result of a completed report. You're able to view the actual background check within SafeVisitor once it's completed. You also have the ability to edit applicant information, change registration types, as well as approve and deny volunteers, employees, whatever registration type you have within the system. You have the capability to make those types of changes. You also have the capability to add to your internal exclusion list. You have the capability to add someone to the exclusion list, but also once somebody is on the exclusion list, you have the capability to take that individual off. Maybe there is an internal custody issue with a student, and parents, one parent is allowed to have custody, the other is not. You have that individual on the exclusion list. You receive paperwork that says both parents are now able to be with that student. You can easily remove that person from the exclusion list. So you definitely have an elevated layer of rights versus what an attendant would have. An attendant access cannot view the completed report results. So if I'm the secretary at the elementary school and I'm considered an attendant, I can see someone's status. I can see a volunteer approved status. I can see denied, can see pending, but I'm not able to view the results of the completed background checks. They cannot edit applicant information, and you cannot add to the exclusion list. One of the things that I forgot to mention on administrator access was that you do, as an administrator, have the capability to change individuals from one registration type to another. Maybe you have an employee that is within your organization. They are no longer employed, but they are now going to become a volunteer of that organization. You have the capability to change them to change the registration type to actual volunteer versus employee. How can I find the status of an employee, volunteer, whatever that registration type is? Where do I go to find that? Once you go to your registrations tab, which is found over here, the little black button icon, you click on the registrations tab. The default always is set to pending status. The reason for that is that for the majority of the customers that use SafeVisitor, there's an auto-approve function. The thought process is that when a background check is completed, somebody goes into approved status, SafeVisitor will auto-approve them and put them into whatever type of tracking role you have set on the background, on the back end. Maybe you have a 4-year renewal for volunteers. Somebody has clear criminal history, SafeVisitor auto-approves them upon completion of the background check, puts them into a 4-year approval status within SafeVisitor, therefore leaving you to only vet those that are pending and have some type of criminal history. So when you log in to find the status of a certain registration type, employee, volunteer, whatever those registration types are for you specifically, this will always default to pending. You have the capability to sort. You have you can sort by the different types, registration types that you already have set up within our system. And you also can sort. This pending button allows you to sort by pending, approved, denied, unrenewed. So you have the capability to feature and to filter by all of these different options. Status icons are always available here too, but you do have some sort capability within the system to be able to find status for particular applicants or individuals. This is what I wanted to show you for the pending status. Because it defaults to pending, you still have the capability to sort by approved, denied, expired, unrenewed, or for those of you that are using our new arrest alert feature, once someone has an arrest alert hit, their badge is automatically suspended and they're put into an under review category so that you internally can make a decision on what you're going to do with that particular employee volunteer within your organization. How do I resend a badge? We hear this a lot. I'm sure that you guys all know that we can't control someone's email inbox and the filters that they have set up on their home email, or sometimes even school email filters for employees. So we hear a lot that the badge, the PDF version, the person may not receive it. A lot of times it's in their spam filter. If you have someone that cannot find the badge, the information for the approval that went to them, you can easily resend the badge. You go into the registrations tab, just like we did before. You go into the approved category, find your particular volunteer. You can click the actions button. You choose the print icon. And once you choose the print icon, will take you to this page where it allows you to choose the delivery method and save. You want to choose email if you're wishing to send that to them via email. You can click save and it will generate that. If the person is standing in front of you and they would like a printed version of the badge, you actually can toggle this and there's a print. It says print or it says email. If you toggle to the left, you would see print and it would print that badge for that person right then and there. I know that we have customers, a lot of people use our mobile app, which is great, but we also have people that really like the hard copy option. I have customers that have volunteers that will print the PDF version. They'll tape it to their phone. We have some people that carry the paper version in their purse. I think it really just depends on what that comfort level is for that particular individual, volunteer, whomever it is that will be using that badge. What's new? We have some new things that will be launched at the beginning of the year. We'll cover those over the course of the next couple of months. Things that we currently have available to you, new features. We have the ability to now resend the email to the applicant even if the registration is expired. I know that's a really big one for those of you that are utilizing the employment module within SafeVisitor. We have kiosks that are now available to you to use in a vestibule entry, or if you choose to use it in a front desk secretary office type of setting, you can utilize that. And also arrest alert. How Bear with me here. I think I have a slide out of place. Oh, okay. So how do I send, resend an email if expired? We built this because we know that people sometimes ignore emails. They don't read. And so those of you that are using the system to manage the 5-year employment module recheck, or even those of you that have volunteers or anybody that you have on a renewal cycle, once the email is generated to the applicant, that individual goes into an unrenewed category, indicating to you that SafeVisitor has generated the first notice to that applicant to renew the background check. If they do not complete that, and they do receive a notification at 30 days prior to expiration, 21 days prior, 14, 7, 4 days prior, 1 day post, or I'm sorry, 1 day prior to expiration, and also 1 day post expiration. If they do not complete the background check at any of those notification periods, they will fall into unrenewed. Previously, the only way that you really had to generate a new notification to get them into to actually renew was to go in and manipulate the system by changing the expiration date to maybe a month out. Now we have the capability for you to generate that email again. When you log into SafeVisitor and you go to the registrations tab, if you choose the unrenewed icon, it will give you and provide you a list of all of the actual individuals that you have that have not renewed their background check. If you go to the actions button, you'll see that we now created a send expiration email. When you click on that, you will be have an option that says, are you sure that you want to send an expiration email for this visitor registration? As soon as you click OK, SafeVisitor generates an email to that particular applicant to let them know that they need to do the background check. They will stay in the unrenewed status until you actually receive the completed background check, and at that point then we would push them into approved. Just know that that volunteer or employee in the system, if they are unrenewed, they've gone through the expired, they're showing up as actually expired. If they tried to scan into your building in that interim time frame with the visitor check-in, check-out system, they would show up as expired. So just know that they do have an expired badge until they actually complete the new process and are approved once they go through that renewal process. Hopefully that's something that will be beneficial for all of you. I know that that's been kind of a hiccup in the past. A pain, especially for those of you that are doing the 5-year, should be an easy way for you to go in and regenerate that email to the actual employee. Kiosk. Kiosk, we have 10 or 12 clients that are using this currently. We're really happy with the design of the kiosk. It works really well. You have the capability to utilize this as a standalone option as shown here in the photo. We also have a wall mount option, which really is the top portion of the kiosk from here up that can be wall mounted, just removes the stand from the actual, the legs and the stand from the top. So you have the option to mount this in a vestibule if you're wanting to secure the vestibule entry. What happens is it gives you the capability for, instead of you selecting visitor check-in or volunteer check-in, you selecting those buttons. Now what happens is the volunteer actually has the capability to go in and they walk into the front door if you have a secured vestibule entrance. They're choosing whether they are a visitor or a badged volunteer. They click on the button, they scan their driver's license via the barcode scanner here, or they scan their mobile app for their volunteer badge. They scan. The same process happens on the back end that currently happens for you now. You as the attendant or the person monitoring SafeVisitor will see the same thing that you see now. If there are any potential sex offender hits or any exclusions, you would see that same information on your dashboard. If there's no criminal history, there's a green thumbs up that populates on the dashboard so that you can click the green check in and check them in. So basically, if you have an issue with someone, sex offender or excluded party, they're now secured in your vestibule versus being into the front office and a secretary having to deal with them one-on-one. I do have a couple of customers that are utilizing this actually in a front office setting. They do not have a secure vestibule entry. They have this in their front office. They allow volunteers and visitors to check in via the kiosk. Secretary then generates, clicks the green button to check them in, or if there's any kind of adverse information, she reviews that prior to checking them into the building. So it helps streamline. A lot of customers that have the secured entry like it because it keeps anybody that should not be in the building secured and outside prior to them getting in, allowing somebody, your security team, to deal with that prior to them coming into the building. That is available now. Anybody that has questions about that, I am going to provide information at the end, so feel free to reach out if you have any further questions about that. Really anything that we've talked about today. Arrest Alert. Arrest Alert is one of our newest features. Super excited about this. It allows customers, I think, to get ahead of the game per se. Real-time arrest monitoring during employee or volunteer tenure with your organization. You have volunteers that we run a background check on and they are approved for a 3-year window. This allows you to monitor that volunteer from the time that they are approved until they have a new background check in 3 years. Gives you a little peace of mind on the in-between, and it can be built into the cost of the background check package if you wish. Client can be billed for it, applicant can be billed for it on the front end when we collect the background check fee. It allows you to have access to valuable information and deal with it prior to the media showing up on your front door on Monday morning because you had a bus driver arrested for something over the weekend. It just allows you to have a level of information that you've not been able to have access to before. We do have customers using this. I think it's a valuable tool. Like I said, it just allows you to extend the length of that background check also if you wish a little bit more, knowing that you've got a little bit of a backup from the time they complete until they renew a background check. This does not replace criminal history completely or the need for a background check or a reference check completely. It does, however, give you an extra layer of protection. There will, by the end of this year, be 92% of the jails in the U.S. that will be reporting data to the arrest information that we're receiving. So that's a good significant amount of information that we'll be obtaining or that will be available for arrest monitoring. Like I said, I feel like a game changer in the background screening industry. We feel like it's something that it's a valuable resource for you, not only from the volunteer aspect, but also for the employee aspect. Okay, who should I contact if I need help? We have a chat icon available on SafeVisitor on the dashboard when you log in. I know a lot of people utilize that. You will typically get an immediate response from us. Also, we have customer support line. We also have customer support email. You are always more than welcome to reach out to me. In full transparency, I may not be able to respond to you as quickly as I would if you reached out to our customer support team, just because I'm out of the office a lot. But I'm always happy to answer questions if needed. Would love to open up the floor to questions if anybody has any. Feel free. I know there's a Q&A that should be available to you via the dashboard if anybody has questions. I don't see any questions, so I will rely on you to reach out via our customer service information that I provided. I will send you a copy of this via email once we're done today so that you have it. And thanks for joining. I appreciate your time. I know this is a busy time of year for school, so thanks for taking a few minutes out of your day. As always, we appreciate your business. Have a good afternoon.